of long-term memories becomes more difficult and less reliable. So, sad though it may be, if the witness in the crime is 75 years old, it must be brought up that 75-year-old people are usually, statistically anyway, impaired in their ability to see things and to commit information correctly. Cross-racial identification, non-politically correct though it may be, there have been an overwhelming number of studies indicating that in general, people are better at identifying members of their own race than members of a different race. People have different theories about why this cross-racial effect may exist, but the point is that it does. So the witness and a perpetrator are of different races. Again, this is something that needs to be taken into consideration, at least in a statistical way. Stress. Obviously, a great number of forensically relevant events, crimes that are going to be subject to criminal cases, car accidents that are going to be subject to civil cases and perhaps criminal cases, produce a lot of stress, both in the actors in such events and in witnesses to the events. So stress is something that has to be dealt with as a possible influence on a person's eventual memory for the details of what happened. Stress is, as you might imagine, particularly high stress, is a challenging topic to study in a scientific laboratory. There are obvious ethical constraints that provide us from taking normal people, even college students, and putting them in conditions of very high stress where they think that their life is in danger, let's say, and seeing how they react. Can't really do that. Nevertheless, there have been a number of techniques that have evolved over the past 100 years or so for studying effects of high stress on mental functioning. And the consensus, a pretty strong consensus of these various techniques is that when you experience something under very high stress, the details of the event are going to be poorly remembered compared to if you're in a situation of more moderate or normal stress. Now, interestingly enough, this conflicts with an intuition that many people have. Almost, let me ask you, how many people have experienced something that was extremely stressful? Let's say you've been in a car accident or you've seen a horrible crime, raise your hands. You've been in a fire or something. I don't know about you guys, but I have. I, for example, was in a terrible earthquake in Chile in 1960, and it produced very long-lasting and extremely detailed memories of the event. When I think about this earthquake that I experienced in Chile, it's almost as if I can run a video recorder in front of my eyes and get every detail of what's happening, or what happened. And that is true more generally. So people seem to have this belief, based on that experience, that contrary to what I just said, when you experience something under conditions of extremely high stress, it is remembered extremely well. Now, the reason, I think, for this belief is that when you experience something under high stress, the event you've experienced is also a very salient one. It's one that you think about a lot after the fact. You talk about it with friends or interviewers. Maybe you write about it, read about it in the newspaper. In other words, it's an event that provides enormous potential for adding to your memory the kind of post-event information that I alluded to earlier. So there are lots of examples, both from real life and from the scientific laboratory, showing that indeed, when somebody experiences something under conditions of high stress, they'll certainly remember that it happened. Everybody remembers seeing the consequences of 9/11 on TV for the first time, but their memory for the details of the event are often completely wrong. It's very contrary to common sense. It's very contrary to be told that what your memory is of something that was very emotionally affecting and very stressful for you may be wrong in important respects, but that is just the way it is. It actually is sort of a prototypical example of a situation where you likely form a poor memory to begin with and supplement it with post-event information that comes from semi-random sources, such that you wind up with a memory that seems to you to be very real, very detailed. It's a memory that you will describe with a great deal of confidence, but it's a memory that is potentially incorrect, sometimes in important ways. So high stress, as I said, impairs, in other words, mental functioning. And I just finished talking about the stamped into memory image that we have of what happens when you experience something that's extremely stressful. So what I've done here is to kind of quickly sketch for you a whole bunch of reasons why many people, many witnesses to crimes, have poor memories of many aspects of the crime, including the appearance of the person they saw commit the crime. Here's a partial list of the relevant factors. But, as I have been saying, a poor original memory can be supplemented by post-event information acquired after the event is over, that can be integrated seamlessly into the original memory for the event. But let me tell you about a representative experiment, just to sort of give you an idea both of what post-event information is and how it's studied in the laboratory. This is an experiment that was published more than 3 decades ago, but it was the first of probably thousands of similar experiments that have been carried out and published in the intervening time. This experiment happened to involve